Hello and welcome to the aForm Show, the premier podcast for all things architecture and design across the MENA region. Welcome to your tribe. Today's episode is supported by SkyStruct, the groundbreaking construction and project management solution that's absolutely turning heads in the industry. They are bringing together architects, engineers, project managers, procurement, and essentially any stakeholder onto one singular platform. Yes, clients are included. SkyStruct is genuinely changing the game. Its tailored modules for construction management, inventory, labor, cost management help streamline the chaos of construction projects. They are rolling out very soon in Dubai, but you as the listener can get in early. Drop us an email at hello@aform.studio and find out how SkyStruct is the future, and it is here today. Now, let's get into the episode. Hello and welcome to the show, everyone. Today we are joined by Josephine, Managing Director at Elementa Design. Josephine comes with a wide array of experience across multiple design verticals and design management. So we are obviously beyond excited to have her on the pod today. Without further ado, let's get into it. All right, cool. We're good to go.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Well, welcome to the show. I think when we first met, we kind of clicked fairly well.
Yeah.
And it was obviously a no-brainer to have you on the show. So thank you for coming on.
Yeah, great. Thank you for the invite. Really awesome.
So for people who are tuning in for the first time, welcome. And for people who probably do not know who Josephine is, could you give us a bit of an intro as to what makes Jo?
Sure. Well, I can give you a little bit of an intro. Basically, Josephine, born and raised in the Netherlands. I'm actually coming from quite a creative family. So my dad is an architect. He's still running the family business that exists over 100 years.
Wow.
Yeah. So I've really learned it from a very young age. It was actually very clear that I was going to follow his footsteps. So I really decided to do these great studies in Italy. The capital of design is Milan.
Yep.
So absolutely. So I really, I really had the best times there. And that has led me to my current creative career. So that's about me.
All right. Very cool. Very cool. So I understand that your current attention sponge is Elementa. So what is Elementa?
Yeah.
Why is Elementa?
Why is it there?
Tell us
Another
all about
interior design firm.
Or is it? Da-da-da-dum.
Yeah. So no, Elementa is indeed an interior design firm. It's really a lifelong dream of mine to start my own company. I've prepared actually my whole life for this moment. So we just launched a couple of months back. We're going to be focused in the residential market, really working on these high-end residential projects to really make sure that we're really coming into that fresh new idea. I'm very excited to bring that on board and to enter into the interior design industry.
Awesome.
Yeah, I've learned really from the best, and I'm going to really build upon that experience.
Yep. It is I can say that I'm a participant of that industry too, to an extent. It is quite difficult because, well, to be honest, I actually forget how difficult it is. I suppose if you do residential architecture that is, for, quite a while, you suddenly get used to that particular workflow and those types of clients and their expectations and so on.
Yeah.
It's only when you suddenly do something different, when you do like a commercial project or something, you realize, oh, it can go a lot faster. Oh, there's already a pre-approved budget? What?
Yeah.
Wow. Oh, we're done?
Yeah.
Whereas with residential, obviously, it becomes a much more intensive and a much more, in my opinion, the relationship that you come out with a client at the end of a residential project, much more intimate, much more deeper than, say, anything else, for example. This is not to say it doesn't happen, but in residential, it almost always will happen, I would think.
Very true. Yeah.
So I kind of then want to understand from you, from your experience being in this market, in the residential sector, what are the kind of insights you've received or, things that you'd want to share about that sector?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think it's people-centric that you were just talking about. It's about people. We're designing for people. So we might as well focus on that. So yeah, I think that is definitely our main focus, that we really start off with having that true intake conversation to see what the client's desires and needs are. And we're really going to build for them.
Gotcha. Another interesting thing which I find nowadays, and again, you can correct me if I'm wrong, which is, I know that we briefly, spoke about Milan and, the salons, obviously, year-wide calendar that gets, booked out and so on and so forth. This is also something which clients are now playing a very active role in. I can recall, a couple of years back, if I was talking to a client for an interior or architecture job, if I mentioned, things like a shadow gap or a termination detail, I'd get like a blank stare. But now when I mention it, they're like, yeah, from experience, I think 20 mm shadow gap is better than
Yeah.
a 10. You don't really see a 10 as compared to a 20.
Yeah.
And I found that ridiculous because I was like, how do you know this?
Yeah.
How do you know this? And then they kind of mentioned that they're just paying attention now. While they obviously still want to employ designers like yourself and myself, they are actually educating themselves a lot more, traveling a lot more, seeing a lot more.
Absolutely.
So is that also something which you think from your experience clients are doing, or do you think we still need to sort of educate them a bit more?
Yeah, in a way, I think you're definitely right. There's much more awareness when it comes to interior design. Mostly what I notice is 99% of our work is really focused on educating the clients of what is beauty.
Right.
And of course, like everyone's beauty is different. Like it is a matter of what your cultural background is or what are the personal experiences in that matter. So just to give you an example, Japan and people from Japan really think luxury stands for that simplicity and a natural wear of the materials. In France, it's about having the refined and elegant details. But in India, you've got those beautiful, rich patterns and that true craftsmanship. So I feel here in Dubai, it's very much of that melting pot where it all comes together. So to really grasp that according to any client and to really see if you can build a guidance through that. And from there, I think it's a matter of that we implement these things. And in a way, we're always educating clients, but it is very important factor in what we do and what we try to achieve.
Got it. So again, if I kind of think from an architecture point of view, we typically have a couple of meetings initially just to kind of get, I suppose, what they envision in their mind when it comes to, designing their apartment or their villa, or, whatever it may be. From an interior design point of view, does that work the same way? If you were to say bring on a client, I'm assuming there'd be discovery sessions or things like that. Is there a workflow you sort of have through this process?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, with the projects we're used to work together with architects on is that we're really working hand in hand from the concept onwards, where you guys are deciding where the windows are going to be at. We're looking from an interior perspective, saying like, oh, it would be great for a kitchen layout like that to change and move the window certain side to the left or to the right or make it even bigger. So that's really something I have always wanted to work hand in hand with.
Right.
And then in that way, we're also not really designing from outside inwards, but more so from inside outwards. I mean, that has been my dream always to work on.
Yeah, makes sense. Makes sense. I mean, in all honesty, do you find that to be an easier workflow than if, say, you were, given this is shell and code, this is what you're working with?
Yeah.
Is that an easier thing to do, or is it easier to collaborate from the beginning with an architect?
Yeah, so I get that question a lot, actually. Recently, there was this client that has reached out to us for, I believe it was a landscape design. And clients were asking, can you please take that on? And always, I've really liked to uplift people around me, such as yourself as a beautiful, great architect, but also landscape designers. I think it's just very good that you stay in your lane and that you're really focusing on what you're actually good at. And it's better than to merge and to collaborate with the best architects and landscape designers around us than saying that we can do it all and that we can design it all, because it's not that.
I think that is this is something which I've spoken to Mark about.
Yeah.
Shout out Mark if you're listening. But I think it's the curse of the passionate designer, which is if you are passionate, invariably you're probably good at more than one thing. Right.
Yeah.
If you're an architect, you probably can do, I'm not saying an award-winning, smashing, one-of-one type landscape design, but you can probably do a fairly good landscape design. You could probably design a pretty good chair. You could probably design a good lighting fixture. Would it be the absolute best? Probably not.
True.
But you probably could do. And that is a very difficult position to be in when you have a client who comes and says, hey, I like your architecture or I like your interior design.
Yeah.
Could you also look at this third thing? And I think what you said was very, very, very key. Kind of staying in your lane really helps you build down a niche portfolio, which, kind of then snowball effect builds over time.
Yeah.
Which is super cool.
Yeah.
So you believe more in collaboration with specialists, I would think. Is that a fair thing to say?
Yeah, 100%.
Okay. All right.
And we do that from a very early stage onward. Like what is really a challenge now already in the real estate market and the interior design industry is that there's so many people flipping houses lately. They do it even from overseas, managing the projects here in Dubai.
Yeah.
You probably know all about it. Dubai is still such a great place to invest for real estate projects. But that also really comes with the fact that we are going to have to work together because we're just not that great at everything.
True. And I also think timelines, right? Even if we are great, there's only 24 hours in a day.
Yeah, you're right.
You need more hands at the wheel, I would think.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, it is super interesting. I don't want to, again, just, for the benefit of our audience, a lot of them are sort of mid-level to senior designers, I would think. So from your experience, if you could talk to them and say, hey guys, if you're in front of me, this is what I would tell you. These are the things I would avoid. These are the things I would do. If you could tell them like a top 3 or 2 or whatever it is.
Right.
If you could speak to that audience, what would you tell them?
Yeah. So I think it's definitely, look, we're just starting off. And so it's great that I already get to advise future audience. But what I always think that you should never be shy about is really creating that personal brand awareness. There's nothing wrong about it. Don't be afraid to really share with the world what you can do and what you're capable of doing. That's a little bit of marketing and PR, very important. And the other one is really stay true to your values and what you stand for. And number 3 would be enjoying the process.
Okay. Wow, those were pretty quick.
Yeah.
No, but I do want to go back to point number 1, which is again something which I find a lot of pushback from really good designers, right? There are many designers in Dubai itself who, I know and have been on the show and things like that, but refuse to do marketing per se, refuse to not only market their own firm, but refuse to market themselves as a designer. And when I ask them why, they give me the age-old, traditional, carved in stone reason, which is if I am good enough, they will find me.
Right. Yeah.
Right. Do you think that is still valid in today's world?
Ooh, I don't know. I'm not a big fan of just waiting until it's going to happen for you. I'm always that person that is just going to chase it and pull as many strings as you can just to get that done, what you want to get done. But that's my approach.
Right.
And that's, I mean, it's if you can relate to it, then that's great. And I'm always there to give tips, but everyone does it on their own way. And it helps when you have great people around you and you're creating that for you as well. Go to the events, meet the right people and just remain humble approaching them. And I think,
Okay. All right. Point number 2, which is, sort of building your personal brand, not shying away from it. Again, when it comes to designers, there seems to be this resistance towards building a personal brand, not because they don't want to, at least from what I can tell, having spoken to many designers via this show, what I can sort of tell is in their mind, it comes off as, I'm trying to find the right metaphor here, but it comes off very, used car salesman. Hey, look at me, look at this. This is what I'm doing. Look at how awesome I am. Look at this. I just won this award. I just this. It seems it probably comes off quite pompous or arrogant, or pushy, or a lot of negative associations with doing that. So if you could talk to them, would you correct that? Would you tell them that there are other benefits to it? Or
partial is that it's really also Dubai to really scream a lot about what you do and how great you are. But on the other side, I would always go for being you and really making sure that you're not screaming as much and perhaps share more of the process that you're going through and how you're actually coming up with interior design concepts or how great is the team around you and really bring in that personal aspect other than highlight winning so many awards, really show a little bit more of how you actually do it. And I believe when you show the how, then you've got people falling for you and believing in your process.
It's a very good point because, again, if I would look at the other end of the spectrum, people who do it quite well, they've come to me with two insights. Number one being clients now come up to me and it's the first time I'm meeting them and they talk to me like they've known me forever. They know my most deepest, intimate, thoughts about
wow.
design. They know what I would like, what I would not like. And this is first conversation. So it becomes quite awkward for me because obviously they've been following along.
Right.
So they know what my values are, what I stand for, what I don't, etc. So initially, that first point is that it's a bit awkward because they come in already knowing so much.
Yeah.
But then the second point, which is the most brilliant thing, they come pre-sold,
Yeah.
right? They're not looking to question and poke holes. They've already said, yeah, this is the designer for me and I'm on board. Let's rock and roll.
Right. Yeah.
So I suppose if you do it right, that is potentially an outcome that
Yeah.
could happen. So yeah, very, very interesting. So switching gears a little bit, I'd like to talk more about design now, right? From your experience, obviously, you're also very, very talented designer. I typically like to ask from experience, right? If there was one project that, you led or you involved in, whatever it is, if there was one project which really was I don't want to say career defining, but more like a key learning project, right? A project which you when think back upon now, you realize that, because I did that,
Yeah.
my entire trajectory as a designer sort of changed for the better, so on and so forth. So if you could share a project like that or key learnings from that.
Yeah, absolutely. It's actually way back. So right now it's adult life and we're going from project to project. But I remember there was a massive switch when I was studying in Italy where I really had this intense dream of participating on the Salone del Mobile. I don't know if you heard of it. You visited probably a couple of times.
Yeah, once.
Once.
It's very big.
Right. Yeah.
It takes like 30,000 steps every day.
Yeah.
Every day.
That's right. So I remember, like, as a young lady coming from the Netherlands, studying in Italy, I really wanted to get the best out of it. And I wanted to participate on Salone del Mobile because I was there. I mean,
right. Why not?
Yeah. And so I had the best positive energy. I've managed to get a stand in Lambrate. It was an incredible experience because I really made sure that the people around me, so my classmates, were interested as well to join, as well as the educational part. So I've managed to get 11 people on board that were all like a team. So we formed the group together and we were showcasing our own products for a little bit of discount, I remember. And in that return, I remember there were a whole lot of other people from the education that were like bringing in their manpower so we could get the discount to participate on the fair. So I've managed all that. And I remember my project just standing there on a beautiful pillar. And I remember not even standing next to it and presenting it. I remember making sure if everybody is okay. Do you have everything where you need? There's soon going to come someone from the magazine. Do you want to speak to that person? Like I remember being much more of that connector other than really focused on my own brand. And I think, that's really what I would really like to change in the future. That it's not just all about me, look at this, look at that. And that particular moment was something that I thought, okay, I might be not just okay at designing, because let's just be humble, but also much more of a great manager to just, be good to people around you.
Interesting. I think you touched upon a very, very good point, which is there was this quote that I heard recently, and I've been talking to other designers about it, and I'd like to get your opinion on it as well.
Yeah.
Which is has nothing to do with design.
Okay.
It's general life philosophy, I
Bring
suppose.
it on.
Which is whichever career you're in, right? Finance, design, whatever it may be. Whichever career you're in, 80% of your career success depends on how you deal with or build relationships with people.
Right.
So it's universal, it applies everywhere, but 80% of your success depends on how you build relationships with people.
Yeah.
Now, someone who I think you do that maybe unconsciously.
Right, maybe.
It just happens.
Yeah.
But do you agree with that? Do you think that knowing how to deal with people or managing people is a key skill which designers should also know?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's very normal that when you come to a site, you do shake your hands, let's say, with the guys that are building the site, and that you can communicate with them as far as that's sometimes possible. But yeah, I think that's really great also to just have everyone on board and to really follow that same path and vision.
Okay. All right. Good. I got one more. I'm going to add you to the board. Someone else who agrees. All right. So I know that as we sort of, reach the end of the episode, so to speak, this is typically where I like to look forward,
Right.
right? We've understood what makes Joe tick right up to here, but I want to understand now moving forward, what's on the horizons for you? What are you, sort of looking at? What interests you? What are you looking to achieve, learn, whatever
Yeah.
it is?
Yeah. So no, I'm really excited to finally get to do the things the way how I want it.
Right.
That's a great start already. And I'm excited to close deals. The pipeline is looking great. I've got some very good clients and really build upon that existing clientele list that I have. So yeah, really excited about the next leads and really making sure that we're going to be this great ambassador of the brand and to make sure that it gets to the next level.
Gotcha. So that was as far as like, I suppose professional goals go, which is
Yeah.
fine, which is good. As a designer, I always like to ask, what do you, well, I suppose the right way to ask this is if there was something that you could add to the design ecosystem that is here in Dubai, right? A certain way of doing things or, a certain insight which you wish all designers knew or something which you don't approve of even. More importantly, if you don't approve of it, actually, that would be even more cool. But is there anything like that that comes to mind where you're like, oh, if people just stopped doing this or if people
Yeah.
did this, everyone's life would be a lot
Yeah,
better?
absolutely. Like I'm the last person to say like, oh, we should do this differently or change that or stop doing that. But one thing that I'm always a bit inspired and intrigued about when I see other companies doing it, and it's really building that initial concept design where we're working on the concept. I see a lot of companies around me just are pulling a lot of images of Pinterest together and put that as a concept. While I truly believe in really making sure that you understand the client's desires and needs, identify those key points and really work that out in a concept so that it's a built up concept rather than just pulling some images together. And I think that's very much needed, that we're really coming with these authentic concepts so at least the client can feel much more connected to it. And that's, in my opinion, how you can keep clients happy.
Right. But don't you think Pinterest needs to be part of that life cycle in some way? Or is that still needed then? Because I would think that even if you go down your workflow, which is
Yeah.
actually creating this very strong narrative about what this concept is,
Yeah.
I'm assuming that at some point you would still need some kind of imagery.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So would you still be pulling those off Pinterest?
Yeah,
Or?
I think that's definitely a step that is going to be involved in it. But it would just be so great to really see those authentic concepts again and to
Yeah.
really see where you can combine these things together. Because at the end of the day, everything has been designed already. It's
Yeah.
very much of a matter of how are we going to combine all the elements together to really make sure we're coming up with something new. And that's really also what Elementa stands for.
Right.
We're building really upon those different elements and making sure that all together it's a beautiful design.
Okay. Interesting. You touched again upon a topic which is fairly close to me at the moment, which
Okay.
is I don't know where you stand on AI or if that matters, doesn't matter, but where it matters to me is that I'm seeing a lot of interior designers actually abandoning Pinterest to an extent
Mhm.
because of AI. And the reason being is because they are now able to generate images very much in line with something like what your workflow is, because I suppose the problem previously was that that narrative was never really there. It was more about, kind of just putting together a good collage or a good mood board
Right.
rather than having a good narrative.
Yeah.
But I think now if you have a good narrative, you can, I know that I'm very very stupidly simplifying it, but if you have a narrative, you can actually plump that into an AI generative program and then get these mood images out of that,
Yeah.
which would feed into your narrative very, very well.
Mhm.
Is this something which is of interest, or you think that no, we don't need that yet?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I don't think we should deny it. It's definitely something that is going to grow bigger in the future. I know that the team is now looking at it. Are you using it yourself?
Yeah, we have.
Yeah?
We have faced a lot of friction. I will be
Okay.
entirely honest, but we're already seeing it implemented quite a bit. We at Orange are very, very open about the fact that we use ArchiCAD as
Mhm.
as our BIM software, and there's now an AI prompt render engine that's been baked into the program directly. So the minute you model up something, you open the render engine and it gives you describe the image.
Yeah,
And then
right.
once you start describing it, it then renders a
Yeah,
white model based on that. Is it the most accurate? Not really.
right.
But I have, and we've found this problem even with other, programs like Midjourney and so on.
Yeah.
Apps rather, sorry, but whatever it is. But we found the same problem. But I've now been told by people who are in the field who use this correctly, saying that the problem is not the program, the problem is you.
Oh, wow.
And the problem is you because you're not able to appropriately describe
Right.
what it is that you want.
Yeah.
Now, if I were to loosely say interior design image of contemporary restaurant design with Minotti chairs and floss lights,
Yeah.
right? For example, it will shoot me out something which is probably an outdoor restaurant, which to start with was never what I said,
Yeah.
right? But it makes a lot of assumptions because it's filling in a lot of gaps which you are not really
Yeah.
providing.
Yeah.
Now, I feel I've seen a bit of improvement with the way that I operate with it. I can see that image is becoming closer to what I want. But is it to a point where it's like, yeah, just give me, 15 minutes and I'll get exactly what I want? It's not that.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, yeah.
Interesting.
But it's definitely getting there.
Yeah. So perhaps the program can educate us a little bit better in how to work with it.
Yeah. Yeah. Agreed. Yeah, went down a whole other different tangent there.
Yeah, no, but it's great. I think we can definitely learn a lot from each other.
Yeah. Cool. So as a sort of closing tradition to the episode, we have something called the aForm tradition, I suppose. We should find a better name for this thing.
Your empire.
My empire, yes. So the question is basically from a previous guest blindly to the next guest, not knowing who the next guest is.
Okay.
You don't know who the previous guest was.
Wow.
So it's kind of like a shot in the dark.
Yeah. Exciting.
Anything could happen. I believe our trusty intern has pulled up your question today.
Yeah.
So I will ask you. Oh, okay. It's a fairly one-liner question, open to interpretation.
Yeah.
I feel like this is probably from an F&B designer, but let's see.
Oh, wow.
So the question is, what are your thoughts on fine dining? Full stop. Or rather, question mark.
Fine dining. I mean, I would love to do that every single day. Why not? I mean, perhaps we could really tap on how that's really going to be implemented into the current design. Previously, I remember kitchens in Dubai were very much we're ordering a whole lot. So kitchens were usually empty. There were not as many machines in there. And we would have empty fridges because everything is possible to get orders done and inside of your house. And right now I see a massive switch in the kitchen designs only, where the kitchen is much more further established so that at least you could have that fine dining inside of your house. So that is a way that I've seen changing coming from the fine dining.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. So on this topic again, I was listening to a whole other different podcast, which was talking about the economics of restaurants, actually. And their sort of insight was the whole fine dining experience previously, like I said, was all about the experience. It was about not just the food, but about the experience, right from the minute you walk in the door till you're seated, textures of tablecloths, like everything plays into that entire experience, especially when it comes to fine dining. Do you think moving forward, we're going to maintain that? Or do you think we're now going to sort of start divorcing what is good F&B design and then what is good food? Because the way that I see it now is that you don't necessarily need to have that complete sort of design experience if your food is really, really good.
Yeah.
Because I've been to places where the food has been like top notch, really good establishments. These are not like by any means, sort of 3-star or below or anything like that. Really good places. But the design, I've been like, could be a bit better. Conversely, I've gone the other extreme wherein it's been like, $1,000 a plate type situation where the design is incredible, experience incredible, but food sort of subpar.
Yeah.
So just a general question.
Yeah.
What do you think? Do you think we're going to have a closer integration of food and design, or is it going to just diverge away?
Yeah, perhaps. Yeah, I think it's a nice topic to talk about. Not long ago, I visited the Tradition Hotel, the one that just opened in downtown. An incredible, beautiful hallway with a beautiful restaurant in there where you've got the looks over the Burj Khalifa and just incredible food. So my personal opinion is that interior design and then the finishes and all that is still very important. In my opinion, when you then taste the food, it tastes even better. So perhaps that's even going to be merged more and more together. All right,
cool. All right. So I think on that tasty insight,
I'm getting a bit hungry indeed.
I'm getting a bit hungry too. So I want to take this time to thank you so much for coming on the show. On behalf of the team, I'm sure they thank you also for donating your time. I shout this from the rooftops that, the show is only possible because of people like yourself donating your time. So thank you very much. And
thank you. You're doing great work. Keep up the good work.
Oh, thank you so much.
Really awesome. It was great to speak to you.
Cool. So for the rest of you guys, we will catch you guys next week. Fellow aFormer, thank you so much for your time. If this episode added any value to you, please share it with anyone who may benefit. If you want to carry on the discussion, please get in touch with us over socials. We are at aForm Show on the gram and hello@aForm.studio on email. That is at aForm Show on the gram and hello@aForm.studio on email. Until next time, stay inspired.